Hello everyone and welcome to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you my each way lucky 15 tips for tomorrow's horse racing action, and we're going to be focusing on the card at Happy Valley, which is in Hong Kong. Before I go into those tips for tomorrow, I just want to apologise for the lack of activity in the last few days on the channel. The reason being really because I didn't fancy anything. We've had racing at Will Rogers Down in America, but I thought the racing looked a little bit too competitive there. I know it's competitive at Happy Valley and lots of other tracks that I've been doing on the international scene, but I'm not really too familiar with the track traits at Will Rogers Down, and I really did think it was competitive, and unless I thought there was good bets to be had, I wouldn't put any up. But I do think there's good bets at Happy Valley tomorrow, and I will be giving those in a sec. Another thing I'll just mention as well, that a lot of you might not be too familiar with US racing, and if you've been following my work since day one, or if you've come on board over the last couple of years, you might know that I record a podcast that I run called the In the Saddle Podcast. You can find the links on Twitter to all of the podcasts, and last week I sat down with Acacia Courtney, who's a broadcaster at Gulfstream. She specialises there, she knows the place very well, and we were able to do a really good comparison between British and American racing. Now, I had a fair level of knowledge when it came to American racing. Obviously followed the races such as the Breeders' Cup, the Kentucky Derby, the Arlington Million, the Pegasus World Cup. We follow a lot of the big races in the States, but when it comes to your average meeting, not so brushed up on what it's like out there. And talking to her, you could see that the racing's very different, it's more regionalised, and she was able to give some good trends at Gulfstream which I hadn't noticed before, and that weren't obvious too unless you watch the racing out there all the time. So I would definitely go and recommend that, and you can find the link to it in the bottom of this video in the description box below, so make sure you follow that. And also as well, I sat down today with a jockey agent that got uploaded called Adam Brook. Sat down with him, spoke about his career as a jockey agent. He's jockey agent to Josephine Gordon, Selma Grage, Dougie Costello, Jimmy Quinn. He's now also as well jockey agent to Joey Haynes. He's got a nice little group of jockeys that he's been working with, and he's a really ambitious guy, and I'll definitely take a moment of your time to go and listen to that, and both those podcasts will be in the links below, so definitely go and check them out. Anyway, what you've been waiting for, the tips for tomorrow's racing at Happy Valley, and we're starting there. The first race at 12:15 with a horse called Everyone's Elite, trained by a horse called KL Man, and Jao Morera, who's known as the Magic Man, is booked for the ride tomorrow. Now, this horse has ran about 5-2 shot in places, and if you actually look at this horse's form, he's bringing the most consistent level to the race. He's finished second on every start since November, and he's got a good draw in stall 3 tomorrow to attack early on. And I just think if he gets a good position under Jao Morera, I know it's not the most original selection, but I thought in an each way lucky 15 he should be placing really, and for me, I'll take a chance with him. Now, the one that I thought was a bit of a big price here is in the 145 of our next tip, a horse called Momentum Galaxy. Now, this horse is 11-1 with bookmakers at the moment, and is trained by Jimmy Ting, and Derek Lung is booked for the ride tomorrow. Now, this horse has been running in a lot better company of late, and he's now back down to a class 4, and I think if you look at his last run, it wasn't actually too bad, and he had a wide draw. He's got a much better draw today, and I just think at 11-1 in places, he's been slipping down the weights out there in Hong Kong. He's due a really good run, and it wasn't a bad performance last time out. So for me, I thought Momentum Galaxy at a double figure price could go well. My next selection is a bit more of a really big price, and I was surprised he was this big. And it's a horse in the 2:15 called Sunny Lad. I have seen 40-1 out there. Yep, that's correct, 40-1 at the current time of recording, which is 6:45 UK time the night before, just in case if he did get really well backed. But he's trained by Tony Cruz, one of the top trainers out there, and Vincent Ho, a good upcoming jockey out there, is booked for the ride. Now, this horse used to be with John Gosden, and he hadn't been seen until his last start, which was a couple of weeks ago. He was last seen last year, I should say, when he was finishing second at Newcastle in a decent grade in British racing for us. He was against the likes of Barristan the Bold, who's a fair handicapper for Tom Dascombe. So he was running at a good level over here. He won 2 starts for John Gosden, so he was no mug, but he obviously probably had his issues, and maybe Gosden just didn't fancy him, so he sent him over to Hong Kong. But nonetheless, this horse ran quite well, considering he probably needed the run for his first start for nearly a year. And going back in trip tomorrow to 6 furlongs shouldn't be a bad thing at all. He's got a good draw and still 4 to attack early on, and if he can get a good prominent position, he might just be able to use his stamina over the trip, and it can be quite a stiff finish at the end. So for me, I think Sunny Lad has a good chance of going quite close tomorrow. We then go with our final selection in the 245 with a horse called Amazing Kiwi. Now this horse is trained by Douglas White, and Karis Teton is put for the ride tomorrow, round about an 8 to 1 shot in places. Now this horse finished second behind Very Sweet Orange last time they met, and I think this horse might be able to reverse the form. The only problem is though that Very Sweet Orange is, even though on paper our selection is better off at the weights with him than their last run, they've got a £7 claimer aboard, but I just wonder if his inexperience might be against him here. And this horse, our selection, Amazing Kiwi, hasn't got a bad draw and still 7 tomorrow, and if Karis Teton can be really streetwise, I think this horse has got a very good chance. And for me, he'll be coming late on with a good charge, and he can definitely go close at a nice price. So for me, he'll be my final selection there, and hopefully we can have a good day in the Each Way Lucky 15 department. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe here to my YouTube channel at Lucky Loads 15. Also as well, check out the links to the podcasts in the description box below. You can also follow me on Twitter as well using my handle, which is at Lucky Loaders 15. Please gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.